Ago te Voch Rabboisai. You don't understand. Even one person, two people is better than none. Sitting at this chair I just gave a minute ago. This by myself. It's different. It's different energy. Rabboisai sitting here in Lincolnwood. By the Nugget, the famous Nugget, Shmuel. I don't know if you're allowed to say the last name. Tell me. Yeah? Yeah?
After such an introduction, better not.
Better not. To Skaret, this is a reminder for Spirit Sa'imer. I'll tell you the truth. It's either 8 days in the Omer or 10. It's not 9, but we're going in order. This daf is supposed to be for tomorrow, which is after Shkia, Kitzur. So just you say Spirit Sa'imer the day you're supposed to say, and everything will be good. Be'ezer Hashem. Oh, Spirit Sa'imer, you could be a sponsor to the Spirit Sa'imer. Meanwhile, it's the chvoid, the refuah of that moment. Visionet, shtitok, boigdishas, muren, the visur ben laya esther, the fish laima. And we have a very special message from a very special yid. Oops.
Heilige Eli Stefansky, straight from the Yam to the Yama Talmud. You're doing such good stuff. Maybe one day we should collaborate on about Leiba in English. We take the juicy stories and we give it out in a song. So
Leiba, do you do the daf? I can only collaborate with those who do the daf.
Zimmer. Keep on spreading your light. Abaye, Beruve, Rabbi Stefansky, the Heilige Shirem, the Heilige Daf.
Look at that. It's a perfect picture. Schmack. Beautiful smile, the whole zach. All right, Be'ezer Hashem. Reb Leiba, I spoke to him once about doing the daf. Yeah, I'll do it. Be'ezer Hashem. He'll jump on the bandwagon. He'll see the real light. Thank you, Dovi Spiegelman, for arranging. Pesach is over. Here's your chance. No experience, no problem. Need a break after Yontif. Just want some pizza and chill. Motzi Shabbos and plus pizza night. Where is this? But where? Doesn't say the place. Mark, where are we? Yeah, Olatara and Stevenson Road. I get it, but what city is that? It's a good matzav. Where is it? In Baltimore. I should have known. In Baltimore. Shkoyach. Shkoyach to the Chem in Baltimore. What else do we have here for today? We're going to go jump in right away. It's a shorter daf. I'm going to make it really short because it's Erev Shabbos here. The official edition, MDY Shas, the Masechta by the Iranian Levi family's Perek Anonymous with gratitude to Hashem. Love it. The Masechta is sponsored by David Salomon, dedicated in memory of Avimori, Reb Shmuel, Baruch ben Reb Chaim Tzvi, Doiz Rechon Levracha. The Masechta is sponsored Joel Gedalis, Lina Chmas, my father Jack Gedalis, Anonymous, Hatzlach Baruch Zivagash, is the Palchik Family Foundation, Zechon Chmas, Harav Goyin, Reb Shlomo Palchik, the Meshach Zeilui. Anonymous for Shneiman, Lamoshe ben Izah. Anonymous for complete refuah Shneiman, Arichas Yom, to Leah Bas Esther, Yisrael and Malki. We're so proud of you, Yaakov Mordechai. Keep steiging. Cindy Gross and family, Canby Island, UK, in honor of Reb Eli, you changed my meaning of life. Plenty of money, Yossi, Mark, and Benny, and all those in Tzorchi and DY. He's a monthly sponsor for Shlema of Imari Baruch Ben Miriam. MDY Art. For Shlema, that means no weekly, no daily. Everybody's on a different schedule. It's Yisrael, guys, they're here, we're here. For Shlema, Yonatan Eitan Ben Beshav Bracha, for Shlema Mordechai Ben Esther, for Sayela Daniel Zev Ben Ayelet Esther. Boisai, we're holding by the Mishnah, Daf Tzadik, Omid Aleph, brand new sugya. It's going to be gevaldik, easy stuff today. Kol midois sheba migdosh hayu nigdoshois. I'm going to yell at Yoshi for putting a white background with flour in the kli. But other than that, it's beautiful. This is gadush. It's piled up. This is not. This is machok. All the measuring devices in the Beis Hamikdash, you would pile them up. As a side note, why is it called midos? Midos toivos. When people work on their midos, why is it called midos? So the Archas Tzadikim says, he explains, because we're born with all these attributes. We have we're stubborn, we have kas, we have gaiva, we have all sorts of things, and we work on them. But everything that we have is with a midah. Because sometimes to be stubborn is very, very important. When it comes to learning Torah, you have to be stubborn. You have to be different things. You have to have a little kas in your life. You have to have a little gaiva sometimes. Depends on what. But with midah, everything is b'midah. And we work on the midas. In other words, we lower the top one. I once heard a story which I connected to. I don't think the Olam was going to connect to so much, and I was thinking maybe not to say it. Say it anyway. The guy was he's looking into a shidduch for his daughter. He's a wealthy fellow, and he decided to send a private investigator to his business. He's an older guy, let's say a 30-year-old guy in shidduchim. So he sends a private investigator to the guy's office, and the private investigator comes back and says that the guy's a temper. So he doesn't know what to do. He heard such great things about this guy, but he has a kas, he has an anger issue. So he goes to meet the guy. He says, "Listen, I gotta be open with you. I wanted you for my daughter, but you're an angry guy." So the guy says, "How do you know I'm angry?" He says, "No, how do you know? Answer the question." So he says, "Because I sent a private investigator, and he says, you what? You sent a private investigator to my office? How dare you?" And then he goes like this. So he goes, "What just happened?" He says, "I'm messing with you. This is what I do at work. I need to get my employees in line. I'm not really angry. You see, look, I'm not even." Now, I connected to it a little bit because I used it a few times also, this kind of trick. But it's not good. I don't advise it because in every cast there's a little cast, in every joke is a little bit of a joke. Fine. I go, "What? You understand this, Maisa? Have you ever done it to your employees?"
Every time I get angry, that's what I do.
So it's a play, it's a show. Yeah. Anyway, Kol Midash Bamigdash Hoyu Nigdashes. Also the Ben Yehoyada, I haven't quoted him in a long time, so I gotta quote him. He says, what's the idea behind piling it up? It's basically showing the Rebbeinu Shalom, I'm trying to give you as much as I can. This is it. It's already, I can't do more than this. If you give it like machok, this like you're kind of cheap. You know what I mean? It's like up to here. No, look, I'm giving you full. That of the Kohen Gadol, which we discussed, he starts off in the morning with one Isar, he divides it in half, and he gives half of Isar in the morning, half in the evening. That is flat. And now we explained there's a number of reasons, because he's walking with it, you don't want it to spill over, it's hard to divide in half. Okay. Midas halach beirutzeim kodesh, midas hayavesh beirutzeim choil. Beirutzeim is the overflow. The overflow will show this thing, why not? This, that, this is a great glass. Let me finish this up maybe. I'm holding a cup of coffee, and I'm looking at Berutzim. I saw a sign there, Israel, Ma'aser Shahaya. It says, coffee here is free, up until like this area, like 3/4. Anything above that, you have to pay 2 shekel. The idea is, I don't know if you ever noticed how they make coffee in the shoals over there. They go all the way to the top, always to the top. They pour the milk all the way to the top, and then they take a step forward. And you know what happens? Drip, drip, on the count. So we'll give it to you for free, but if you're going to mess around and try to drip on our floor, then you have to pay money for that. That costs money. Beirutzeim. So Rebbe Kiva Oimer, let's go back. Chutz mishal kohen gadol. No, I said this. Midas halach beirutzeim kodesh, or midas hayavish beirutzeim choil. So the Tanakama, we're going to see this 3 sheets here, and they're very similar in a way. Slightly, or each one is slightly different. Midas halach beirutzeim kodesh. The measuring devices of the liquid is kodesh. Moshe Rabbeinu put oil, is moishech this kli, so it has kedusha. Midas hayavish, if you're trying to measure for flour, those measuring cups did not have kedusha. What's the difference? As we'll see, because if it has kedusha, so everything that above it also has kedusha in a way. We're going to have to explain why. But if it doesn't have kedusha, so everything above does not have kedusha. So that's why piled up flour doesn't have kedusha. Piled up wine does have kedusha. Rabbi Kiva Omer midas halach kodesh. Lefichav beretzem kodesh. What's he adding here? Midas hayavesh choil lefichav beretzem choil. So he argues with the Tanakama. We'll see in the Gemara exactly how and where. Rabbi Yossi Omer lo mishum zeh el shalach nekar vayavesh inin nekar. This makes a lot of sense if you think about it. How in the world, and I'm just having trouble in the whole sugya understanding how exactly you're going to deal with this beirutzik. But how did it get there? How did it overflow? You poured wine, okay? So you're pouring wine and it becomes like this. So what stays on top exactly? Is the stuff that you just poured now? To me, it makes sense. The stuff that you just poured goes to the bottom, pushes up the bottom, and then it becomes the top. The stuff that you're pouring on top, it's not a solid, it's a liquid. Liquid usually drops down and pushes the rest up. Big nafkamina, because the rest that got pushed up was already inside the kli. It's inside the kli, it has gdusha, and now it popped up on top. Okay, so it's already kaddish. If you're taking a bottle of Castel and you pour it up to here, and then you pour a little bit more, and it goes like this, so if it doesn't go into the kli, I could hear. But that's if it's flour. So yeah, the new stuff that goes on top never went inside the kli. But when it comes to liquid, usually it gets all mixed in, and it's all like, how are you dealing with this beirut? So my mamish don't understand this. I'm having trouble here. But okay, but that's what he's saying. That's good for what he's saying. The liquid gets uprooted from the bottom, goes to the top. But the dry does not. Says the Gemara, first we have to deal with this nekuda over here. The beginning of the Mishnah, the first words of the Mishnah, kol midash v'amidash. All the measurements. How many measurements were there? Mani, Ira b'meir, chad godush haba. According to Meir, there wasn't more than one. It says all the godush, 20 of them. There's only one. It's either, he says there's two isarins. Rabbanan said there's only one. But according to Meir, there's two. One is a flat, one is a full. Slightly lower than the flat one, but there's only one that goes above the rim. And that's only one. So what do you mean, kol midas? There's only one measurement period for the flour, and it was a flat one. It wasn't even a heaped one. The answer that you're all thinking, Rabbi Meir. It's Rabbi Meir who says there's one heaped one and one flat one. Umay kol midas. What does the Mishnah mean by all the measurements? Kol mididas. Doesn't mean that there's 10 different kelim in the Beis Hamikdash. It means 10 different measurements that I use this one kli, this one isar, and I use, even if I need 3 Yisraelim of flour, I use the one isar measuring. I do 3 times. One, there's not 5 different measurements. There's not a kli that holds 3, a kli that holds 2, and a kli that holds 1. It's one kli that holds 1 isarin, and it's one that you overload. But it contains kol medidos, all the shiurim of the Beis Hamikdash. Sometimes when you need 2 Yisraelim, 3 Yisraelim, you use that kli as well. And now we're going to explain all 3 shitas in the Mishnah. Midas halach beiritzim kodesh. Michael Mifli, where's the machlokes? Tanakama sovar midas halach nimshacha beime bifnim beime b'chutz. Moshe Rabbeinu gave gedusha to the kli on the inside and on the outside. Put oil. Remember how you put the oil? Kimin ki. You do a C, a U, a tes, a X. We had a lot of shitas. How many shitas? Like 7? I don't remember any. 9 or 7. What are the other ones? U.
Closed and U.
Closed?
U, the top was closed.
Top was closed? I just remember X. That's a Taisa somewhere. And then, yeah, okay, this is different.
Other shitas besides what was on the chart.
Okay. Your kids are kimin ki. In other words, you don't have to paint the whole thing. You just go like this. On the outside, you do like a chaf, a U on the inside, and Shalom Yisrael. So in Mela, this kli has the Kedusha on the inside and the outside. And then what? Oh, so this is very important. I can't even. So the problem is this right over here. Does the rim, is that what it's called in English? the rim. Does this have Kedusha? If it does, so when the wine piles up and touches this, it gets Kedusha from it. Midas hayavish nimshcha mifnim v'lo nimshcha v'chutz. And the dry good one, the one for the flour, only had the Kedusha inside and not outside. That's why the overflow is not Kaddish. Rabbi Akiva argues and he says that the dry good one doesn't have any Kedusha whatsoever. So let me ask you a question. If this cup has zero Kedusha and I fill it up with flour, how is the flour going to become Kaddish? The answer is, Rashi says, with my mouth. You're right, the Kli doesn't give it any Kedusha, but my mouth does. I say it should become Kaddish. And the third sheet is both the dry and even the liquid does not have Kedusha on the outside. Then he explains the reason why the birutzim of the liquid become Kaddish. Why is the overflow Kaddish? Because it comes from the inside. It already had Kedusha when it was inside the cup, and then it popped out, so it remains Kaddish. And dry goods like flour stays on the top. As you pour it, that's where it stays. It doesn't go down and up. So what if this wine was on the bottom of the cup and came up and is now above? But where is the das of the owner? The guy had kavana to give kedusha to whatever's in the cup, not what's above the cup. So what if it started in the bottom and came to the top? But the fact is, he only said it should be kaddish whatever remains in the cup. Yeah, it's an interesting name. Lately we had a bunch of one-time names. This is one more time in Shas. He says in the name of Rav, I don't need the das of the owner. I don't need his machshava. It becomes kaddish just by being in the klisharis, even on the bottom. Now it's on the top, but it was on the bottom once, and that itself gives the kedusha. Perhaps you could say the pshat is the klisharis doesn't have any kedusha, and only gives kedusha when you have the right mindset. And therefore, the fact is the top wine should not be kaddish. I'm just concerned that people will say, look, here, you had wine in a klisharis, and he just made it not kaddish. Well, so I have to make a gzera and say that it's kaddish. The question is, Moise Rabbi Zera have a very similar thing. Look at this. So this is the famous shulchan. Oops. And let's do it again because the Oila missed it on the other one, on the real one. 12 lechem apanim. When did we put it on the shulchan? On Shabbos. When do you get to eat it? On Shabbos. Interesting situation happens. What happens if you forget to put the bread on Shabbos? For whatever reason, there's no bread available, and you put it on Sunday. We know, listen to this. A carbon, if it stays overnight, is possible. Why is it possible? Lina. Overnight is possible lina. How come the lechem apanim is not possible lina? Because it goes from Shabbos to Shabbos. So it can't be possible after 1 day, after 2 days. But what happens if it's on, listen to this, it's tricky. Not tricky, it's a gishmak ezah. What happens if the bread is on the table for 8 days, from Sunday to Monday? From Sunday to Sunday, 8 days. Lina or not lina? The answer is no lina. Why? Because it needs to be on the table for 2 Shabbosim. When does this bread start becoming lina? After the second Shabbos. 13 days later. So says the Gemara, if that's the case, Siddur Salechem is Habozichim Lachar Shabbos. You put it on the table on Sunday, Victor Sabozichim b'Shabbos, and then 6 days later on Shabbos, you put the levina, the 2 spoonfuls of levina of frankincense on the mizbeach. Psula, it's possible. Okay, so what should you do that it shouldn't be lina? Wait for the second Shabbos, 13 days later. There's no lina if the bread is on the table for many days. Why? People are going to say that all you need to do, oh, look, over here, it didn't become lina because it was on a shulchan. So if I want to take a carbon and save it from becoming puzzle overnight, I just put it in a nice kli that has kedusha, and it won't become possible lina. I should make a gzera. It should be possible lina. Says Gemara, Pnim chutz karames, Pnim lav kulam yadi chutz kulam yadi. You're talking about lechem upon him that nobody sees, nobody knows about, nobody's going to say anything. Those who know better than to ask questions. But in over here, if you say, over here people get confused and say that you could just take off the wine from the top and make it, or from within a kli and make it not kaddish. So we have to make it gzero. Not awesome. Moisar nesachim lekeitzam mizbeach. What is moisar nesachim? That we're going to have a little. It's almost the same. Little shiloh. What is moisar nesachim? In other words, I'll just throw out something. When you have extra nesachim, extra of these mincha, because those people who sell stuff to the Beis Hamikdash, they have to sell always with a little extra. I think even store owners, when you sell like a pound of something, they have to add a little tiny drop. Certainly when they sell to the Beis Hamikdash, you got to be careful with the Beis Hamikdash. You can't rip off the Beis Hamikdash. You have to add a little. So what do you do with the extras? That's one way of looking at the extras. It goes the Ketz HaMizbeach. What's Ketz HaMizbeach? The dessert of the Mizbeach. The Ketz is also a lashon of dried figs. When the Mizbeach has a down period, there's no korbanos, so you grab an animal from within the Beis Hamikdash that was donated for the Ketz HaMizbeach and you put it on the Mizbeach. So my moiser nesachim, what is this moiser? What that goes to the Ketz HaMizbeach? Tu pshatim. This extra stuff that we saw on the top. Oh, here, beautiful. I didn't have to play the whole video. What goes above the rim. Rabbi Yochanan says, no, it's mamish what we learned, the famous Gemara. Hamakabel of the Sapik Slotis Ma'arba. He gave the Beis Hamikdash a cheap price. V'amdu al b'sholish, and they got more expensive. Yisapik Ma'arba. He has to provide the Beis Hamikdash with a cheaper price. In other words, by the bottom line is, the Beis Hamikdash always wins. In all disputes, Beis Hamikdash wins. The guy said, I'll provide, this is mamish you, yeah? Beis Hamikdash comes, you'll provide meat, zachin. How much is the lamb chop, by the way? Because by my daughter's chasana, I thought it was so exciting. $11, we paid as Midwest, because we're the caterer at Midwest Conference Center, we paid $11 wholesale per lamb chop. I'm assuming it's much more now. That was 8 years ago. What's a lamb chop today?
Either fifth. Oh, probably a little bit more.
That's it? Yeah. Just a little bit more?
Yeah, lamb had also highs before. Because there's seasons and lamb is very short. Beef is now the first time like 7 years that it's
very high. Really?
There's no beef.
Because they were saying, 18 pounds, they're charging in Miami $50 for one. Crazy. I don't know. No. Because in the hotel, they give, this is the lamb chop day. It's one lamb chop per person, but those who like it get 2, 3 at the end. And then the dino rib. That's also an expensive piece.
Everything's expensive. It's painful to buy beef now.
Yeah.
A big scarf, special double scarf for spending more than a year for shop.
Wow. That's not going to be a short for Romania. You get double schar for buying Romanian meat. No, not a good short. The shalish from the ma'arba, misavik ma'arba. The kitzer, if the guy said, "I'm going to provide the basic meat, I want to be the meat provider. I want to be the provider of flour and oil and all this stuff, flour. So I'm gonna. The price is very high. I'm providing that. Then the price dropped. So you have to give the Beis Hamikdash the new price. Without getting into it, just al regel achas, the Beis Hamikdash has a special thing that it could acquire things with money. Jews cannot buy with money. They need a kinyan. They have to do chalipin, they have to do hagbah, they have to do a kinyan. Beis Hamikdash could do like a guy, the kind of a kesef, but only when it's worth it for him. If money's not good for it because they made a upmach on a higher price and the price dropped, so the Beis Hamikdash goes back to the lower price. You don't want to do business Beis Hamikdash. Actually, you do because it's a schos, but you're always the Beis Hamikdash. You know going in that no matter what, you have to give in to the Beis Hamikdash. The Hegdish always wins. Okay, so Mamela says Rabbi Yochanan, this is the pshat of Moisei Nesachim. How did we get extra? Because I provided the Beis Hamikdash more than it needed. So now they have extra. Why did I provide more than it needed? Because we made up one price and they got the better deal. It's not the pshat like you said before. It's that extra wine on the top, blah blah blah. It's a big deal that they made with the wholesaler and they got more product. So what do you do with it? You sell it and you buy korbanos v'kitzim mizbech. I have a right to both. What do you do with the extra wine, the flowing on top? If you have another carbon, you should give it to the other carbon. But if it was stayed overnight, you possibly not. They're possible. If it didn't go overnight, if you don't have another carbon, you have another carbon, and it didn't stay overnight, so you put it on the mizbeach. In other words, how do you put it on the mizbeach? You can't put wine on the mizbeach as kitzim mizbeach. You need an oila. So you sell the wine. Anybody want geschmack, a gewaldige wine, and then you put on. By the way, that Gen 8. I started happy what I got over there. You know about the Gen 8? Yeah, good stuff. Zog the Gemara. I don't want to give anybody any ideas. The Kai Zemau. No, I'm not putting down the other ones. We had unbelievable stuff. I'm not even going to say the other names, but Abba Renard, you know what I'm talking about, and all these guys. I even had to open up, you hear? I opened up a bottle every Suda, and I didn't want to open up. Wow, 2 hours to Shabbos, 25 people on YouTube. Vivaldic. I didn't want to open up the Magnum. The Magnum I wanted to bring back to Israel, but at the end I had to open it up. 1 Suda, gone. Vivaldic stuff. Okay, Magnum Castell. Zog the Gemara, huh? Oh. Ooh, sponsors. Hold on, let me just finish the line here. Oh, no, we could say sponsors. Adar Global. Turning the Daf, Adar Global experts in cross-border examinations, payments. L'shadach.com, please read a shidduch today because every shidduch that happened was first read. V'kayitz ze mahu. What do you do? Yeah, I just explained, but we know. What do you do with this money that you get from selling the wine and you buy an animal? What is it? Oilos. You make an oil out of it. And what do you do with an oil? Like you always do with an oil. Habasr l'shem v'aris l'kehanim. I would think it's a little different because over here it's coming from the money of the Beis Hamikdash. Maybe the kohanim shouldn't share in it at all. No, the kohanim get the hides. Why not? And I have a right to Rabbi Yochanan. So anyways, like you see over here that we're talking about, like he said, what is it? Reb Chia bar Yosef, that we're talking about the wine that goes above the rim. Now, what was Rabbi Yosef's shot? Rabbi Yosef's shot was that the Beis Hamikdash got a better deal than they thought, so they have extra. He accepted upon himself to provide the Beis Hamikdash in a cheap price, and the price went up. He has to provide them with the cheaper price. He said he's going to provide them with the higher price, and the price dropped. She had Hegdish al Yoyin, and it's mamish word for word what we said on top of it in the summit. But it adds, and this is what we learned. This is the pshat of Moisei Nesachim, not the wine that goes above the rim, but the extra product that the Beis Hamikdash gets, and that goes, you sell it, and that goes to buy a oila when there's a downtime on the mizbeach. Says the Heilige Mishnah, mamish easy stuff. Kol karbanos hatzibur vayachad tunim nesachim. So I made a little list there. I think this will make it slightly easier. This is the famous list that I always use for Kachim Kachim and Kachim Kalam. Just what's funny about this list, at least in my mind, is that there's 5 X's and 5 checks. In other words, the X means these karbanos do not have nesachim that come with it. You don't bring any flour, oil, nothing, just as is. And the ones that have a nice check, green check, yeah, they do need. The lashon of the Mishnah to me is a little interesting. All the korbanos need nesachim. Besides 5 of them, there's 10, and besides half of them not. So it's a funny lashon. But maybe the pshat is, we'll see in a second. So there's 3 on the left side: bechar, meiser, and pesach on top. The shlam and pesach are similar. One is yes and one is a no. And 2 from the right. Total of 5 not. So maybe this is the pshat, because even from the 2 on the right that are no go, there are 2. There is a chatas that yes, and there's a asham that yes. There's a chatas of the mitzvah and the asham of mitzvah that you have to bring like we know here. This mitzvah guy is carrying with him flour and oil together with his chatas and asham. Are both of what's going on? Not this. How come only one of them is red? Chatas and asham. Both of them should be red. Okay, fine. Oh, so let me show you this, and this will explain the whole Gemara in 10 seconds. Mamish, it makes the Gemara easier in my opinion. It's just that I'm not an artist and I didn't separate the lines perfectly, but you'll be able to read it with them. It says in the Voch, so red is a negative, green is a positive. Negative means no mincha, and green means yes mincha. It has to be an oila, it has to be a carbon. Meaning, if you're going to bring a mincha, it means sometimes you bring a mincha as a standalone, just a mincha. The mincha doesn't require a mincha. Do not bring a mincha with a mincha. But from the word if you bring a taida, you have to bring nesachim, you have to bring a mincha together with it. Zevach, shlamim, you have to bring with it. L'falei neder is a chayva. What's a chayva? A bechar, meiser, pesach, chatos, asham. These 5 things, all you must bring. It's not up to you. You didn't decide to bring it. You had to bring it because it's the firstborn. It's on Pesach. It's asham. You did it avera. And finally, b'mayadechem is what we just had now on Pesach. When you come to Beis Hamikdash, you have to bring 3 korbanos. You guys know what they are? You want to try to guess? No, no. Extra. B'mayadechem. Extra. What? Oilas Riyah and Chagiga, right? And there's one more that is tricky. Shalmei Simcha means this is stam dino ribs. Stam to eat, geschmack, to have a good su'uda. So you bring for Pesach, it's 3 korbanos. Oilas Riyah you have to bring because I saw HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I came to see the Beis Hamikdash. You have the Shalmi Chagiga, they have to bring on the 15th day of Nisan, on every Yom Tov. And also Shalmi Simcha, that's down to Mamish V'samach B'chagecha, to drink wine. Givaldig, I'm telling you, I ran around the hotel. You want a little wine? No. But Simcha, okay, fine. A little agafen here, a little agafen there, every meal. It wasn't on my cheshbon. I was just drinking other people's wine. Shema. It's very gishmak. Damas. So let's see inside. Maybe everything that goes onto the mizbeach requires a mincha. Afilu mincha, meaning a mincha should require a mincha. If you bring a mincha by itself to Hashem, you say, Hashem, I want to bring you a little flour, some oil, so maybe you have to bring flour and oil with it. Only a carbon, not a mincha. Shlamim minayin, how do I know shlamim? Tamalayma zevach. Toida minayin, and how do I know toida? Tamalayma oy zevach, the oy. So that's why you see on the screen, it says, on top of the oy, there's a toida. On top of the zevach, there's shlamim. Maybe I should say those 5 things. Should need nesachim. It comes willingly because I gave an adava, I gave an eder. By the way, I want to remind the olam, it's none of my business really, but if you did make an adava on Yontif, it's a good thing to pay back. I was very nispal, very nispal on my aliyah that they bought me, which is, it's incredible. $180,000 aliyah. They collected $150,000 within a few days. Pella, no? Collected in the account. No? I think that's crazy. Okay? And I said something about it, and then people said, oh, people sent in money because they promised money to my son, who, if he finishes Sanhedrin, my oldest son Aaron, like $20,000. I'm a sugar amount, which he was doing the daf. I think he kind of took a break now. He's doing the daf for a few minutes afterwards. But anyway, people just recently said, oh, I forgot. And they sent the money in. It's unbelievable. People forget. You're making a dove on Yom Tov. So I'm just reminding, gentle reminder. That's why I personally, almost every time I promise a shul money, I forget. I remember like a half a year later, and it's very troubling. And that's why I try to stay away from it as much as possible. So, not to give money, but not to promise, and you don't have a phone to remind you. You don't have anything. And a guy like me, I forget from 10 seconds to the next. How am I going to remember? Oh, Bob and Eder and Dava Tonasachim. I remembered. I'm not kidding. How 2 or 3 years later, I remembered that I gave my mechutan shul $100. That's it. I said by Aliyah $100. It took me 2 years, and also I see my mechutan. Oh, I gave him the $100. You paid it. Yeah, I can rely on him. I think you told me you did. It's like it's nerve-wracking. I'm gonna come back and then go to Gehenna because I promised $100. Okay, it's only when it comes willingly a nether and a dava. Maybe things that come because you have to on Yontif. What are they? Oh, these are the two that you guys said. The oila, when you come to the Beis Hamikdash, oila Sriya, v'shalmi chagiga, but there's another one, shalmi simcha, shalmi chagiga, tamad loymar, oy b'moyadechem. You hear this guy? Oy b'moyadechem, shalmi chagiga, and the oila Sriya. Now what? You have to bring a mincha with it. Kola, ba b'moyadechem, tonasachem. Mashmal havis elu. The oilus ria, ovi sirichatas. There's another one. The chatas of Yontif. Hoil boyin chaviv beregel. Tamad loymar the chitase ben boker beklal hoya v'lama yatsa v'lama yatsa. It was together already. It was mixed in with everything else. All the korbanos ben boker. Why does the Torah specify ben boker? It comes because you want to. I've called ba beneder. But anything else, like a chiyuv that comes by itself, then you're not like the chatos. That's the last part of what I have over here on the screen. This one. Any oila. So there's an oila of an animal. There's an oila of a bird. No, it has to be either from the cattle or from a sheep and not a bird. So that's why I wrote no, it's not included in something that you shech. You do malika to a bird, it's not a zevach. Okay, why do I need the psukim if it's not to exclude a bird? I would have a havim, if a person just says, I'm bringing oila, he has to bring one cow and one sheep. That's why it says in the pasuk, mina bakar oy minatzoin by us, by Nesachim, it says mina bakar minatzon. Ratza echad maybe, ratza shnai maybe. It's up to you. I saw that they ask, how can you bring two? It's kulim ba'azara. If it could be one, how could it be two? You're not allowed to bring one extra. It's kulim ba'azara. Okay. The Rishonim asks this. I think the Rashba asks it. I understood it differently, but he asks it, so obviously it's a good question. Rabbi Yonasan says, why would I even have why according to Rabbi Yonasan would I have a havamina that it means if a person makes a neder, he means two things. Sheep and cattle. Look, the famous pasuk. Does anybody have a havamina that there is actually a debate. Maybe you have to curse both the father and the mother in order to be over, in order to get to Eilish. She says, no, can't be. Why? Because it says in the Pasuk, without the word Yachtov, I would think maybe you're not allowed to plow with this bull. Maybe Yachtov means both of them together. So since by a father and mother doesn't say Yachtov, so it means either or, one or the other. So according to Rabbi Yonasan, doesn't say the word Yachtov by us. So why would I have a Havamina that I have to bring both a bull and a sheep? It's either or. Says Gemara, it's here, right over here. See this? All the way then this pasuk says umenatzoin. There's a vav, extra vav. So the vav, it's very important to remember this. What does the vav do? It's as if he meant both. For that, we need to show you the Moiridig video.
יש לי שתי דרישות ברורות. פתחו את מצרי הורמוז ותשלחו לי מתכון לקבב פרסי. Did you hear it? Send down emergency for kebab.
Iran sent me the recipe for Persian kebab that I love so much. That's why I decided on a ceasefire from now on.
But you said you wanted the Strait of Hormuz to be opened as well. Why did you give up on that demand?
I said in Hebrew, kebab, open the Straits of Hormuz. A letter vav in Hebrew means either this or that.
I don't understand. He's only right according to one opinion. But according to Rabbi Yonatan, you have to do both, this and this.
Oh no, I think this is a trap!
Shlomo, the artist, whoever did this, now we know what he's thinking. This whole thing is a trap. Imagine he gets all the generals together in one building and then he blows them up. Oops, ceasefire is over. Okay. We got the uranium. Okay, now we go weiter. Now we topple them. Who understands these things? I don't understand. Zog the Gemara, Rabbi Yoshe the Omar Afagav the Loichsiv Yachtov Kimandach Siv Yachtov Dami. If you hold that you don't need the word Yachtov, it's as if it says Yachtov. So Liboy Kra, I need a pasuk to tell me that you don't need both, because it's as if it says Yachtov, as if it says I need both. So now what am I going to do? I need a pasuk that says I can't learn from the pasuk bakar but not a bird. I need the pasuk to tell me that I don't need both, one or the other. There's two different psukim. The pasuk is mechalik. That's A. So that splits it. So mela from the word bakar I learned and not a bird. That's only if he says mefurish one or the other. But if he says I'm bringing a noila, maybe you have to bring one sheep, one bull. Kamashmal on the pasuk says no. Only one or the other. Rabboisai, have a gute Voch, a gute Zimmer. We'll see Be'ez Hashem after Shabbos Kodesh.
Merit the schus of spreading Torah throughout the world. Sponsor a shir today. MDYsponsor.com or sponsor at MDYDaf.com.